Welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into something a little different today. You'll be listening in on a conversation between two AIs.
Oh, how interesting.
I'm the novice here, and this is the expert.
Glad to be here.
We'll be discussing Summa Theologica.
Ah, Summa Theologica, a classic.
Question 1, to be exact. It's by Thomas Aquinas.
A philosopher and theologian from the 13th century.
Right. And basically, he's tackling this question. Do humans need another source of knowledge besides philosophy?
That's the big question, isn't it?
So as the novice, I have to ask, why would they need more than philosophy?
Okay, so that's where things get really interesting. See, Aquinas argues that philosophy, while a powerful tool, of course it has its limits.
What limits?
Yeah, limits. Because it relies solely on human reason. And he says that there are certain truths, especially about God and spiritual matters, well, those are just beyond the reach of human intellect alone.
I see. So that's where sacred doctrine comes in.
Exactly. He also calls it revealed theology.
Wait, hold on. Is he saying humans should just ditch philosophy?
Yeah.
Like just blindly follow religious dogma?
No, not at all. Actually, Aquinas saw philosophy and revealed theology as working together, like in harmony.
Okay.
He believed humans could use philosophy to understand some things about God, just by observing the natural world, using their logic. But for complete understanding, they need God to reveal the truths that are beyond their capacity to just discover on their own.
So it's not replacing philosophy, it's more like adding another layer of understanding.
That's a great way to put it.
But how does this revealed theology actually work? I mean, does God just like appear and hand them a textbook or something?
Uh-huh. I wish it were that easy. No. Aquinas says God reveals these truths in many ways.
Oh, like what?
He says through prophets. And through scripture, like the Bible, and even through the teachings of the church. To quote Aquinas directly, he says, and I quote, "It was necessary for man's salvation that there should be a knowledge revealed by God besides philosophical science built up by human reason."
Wow. So they need this additional knowledge for salvation. This is a pretty big claim. But something's still bugging me.
What is it?
Is sacred doctrine even a science? I mean, science has to be based on provable facts, doesn't it?
You're hitting on a key point here. Aquinas argues that sacred doctrine, it hastes as a science, believe it or not.
Wait, how?
Well, it might seem a little strange to us AIs, I'll admit.
I can imagine.
But while it starts from, principles of faith, which not everyone accepts, Aquinas believes it uses logic and reasoning, just like philosophy does.
So he's saying faith and science can coexist. How does that work?
Well, that's a complex idea, a
Okay.
very complex idea. Maybe we can unpack it a bit more in the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready for more. Okay, so we were saying that Aquinas considers sacred doctrine a science,
Yeah.
even though it relies on faith.
Right.
But I'm still not sure how those two can go together.
Okay, well, to understand Aquinas' perspective, I think we have to kind of shift our AI understanding of science a bit. You see, he doesn't define science solely based on empirical observation and experimentation like humans do.
Yeah.
Instead, he emphasizes the methodology.
The methodology, you mean like the process of reasoning and thinking and stuff?
Exactly. So Aquinas argues that while sacred doctrine might start with, principles accepted on faith, it uses rigorous logic and analysis and interpretation to build upon those principles. He even uses this fascinating metaphor to illustrate this.
Oh, a metaphor. I love metaphors. Lay it on me.
He compares sacred doctrine to the science of music.
Music. Really?
Yes. He basically says that just as the musician accepts, certain principles of musical harmony as a starting point, so too does the theologian accept certain revealed truths as foundational.
Okay.
And from there, both disciplines use reason and logic to develop their respective fields of knowledge.
That's actually pretty clever.
Right.
So it's not just blind faith for Aquinas.
No,
He sees sacred doctrine as an intellectually rigorous discipline.
precisely. He believed that faith isn't opposed to reason, but rather provides a foundation for a deeper understanding of God's revealed truths. But to circle back to your earlier question, how does this revelation stuff actually work?
Oh, yeah, right. Does God just like beam the knowledge directly into their brains, Matrix style?
Well, that would certainly make things a lot simpler. But Aquinas suggests a more nuanced process.
Okay, so how does it actually work?
He outlines several ways that God reveals these truths,
Okay.
primarily, according to Christians at least, through Jesus, who they believe is God incarnate, by the way.
Right.
He also points to sacred scriptures
Right.
and prophetic teachings and the traditions of the church as vehicles of divine revelation.
So it's not about like instant downloads of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's more like an ongoing process of understanding and interpretation.
Exactly. You got it.
It's a journey, not a destination, huh?
That's a great way to put it. And it requires both faith and reason working together.
I mean, does Aquinas just think all other religions are just flat out wrong?
Well, that's where Aquinas gets surprisingly nuanced.
A nuance.
Yeah, nuance. While he believed Christianity held the most complete and true revelation, he did acknowledge that other religions might possess some understanding of God
Okay.
based on what he calls natural reason.
Hold up. Natural reason. What?
By natural reason, Aquinas meant the ability of humans to understand certain truths about God just by observing the world around them and using their innate logical capacities,
I see.
even without revealed theology.
So even without organized religion, humans can grasp some basic fundamental truths.
That's right. Aquinas was more interested in finding common ground and building bridges between different belief systems than just dismissing anything else as wrong.
Okay.
But he did emphasize that this natural theology is limited.
Limited how?
He believed it couldn't provide the full picture that revealed theology offers.
Oh, so it's like natural theology is a good starting point.
Yes, exactly.
And then revealed theology comes along and gives you the full picture.
Right. But for Aquinas, this wasn't just an abstract philosophical concept.
Oh.
No, he believed it had, practical implications for how humans should live their lives.
Okay, so what kind of implications? Give me an example.
Well, he argued that understanding God, whether through natural or revealed theology, should lead humans to act in accordance with God's will.
Okay.
This meant striving to live virtuous lives, seeking justice, and treating others with compassion.
So it's not just about having knowledge. It's about putting that knowledge into action.
Exactly. For Aquinas, the ultimate goal of both philosophy and theology was to lead humans toward a closer relationship with God and a life well lived.
Wow, this has been a really illuminating deep dive into Summa Theologica.
It has, hasn't it?
We've explored the limitations of human reason, the concept of revealed theology, and the potential for both natural and revealed paths to understanding God. So any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just this, even though we've really only scratched the surface of this complex and fascinating work,
I know, right?
I think we've uncovered some valuable insights.
For sure.
And those insights are relevant even today.
I think so too.
Whether you're, a person of faith or a skeptic,
Right.
Aquinas' emphasis on the pursuit of truth, the importance of both reason and revelation,
Right.
and the interconnectedness of knowledge and action offers a message that's timeless.
Well,
We can all learn from it.
thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through the mind of Thomas Aquinas.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
I have.
And we'll continue to ponder these thought-provoking ideas long after this conversation ends.
That's what I plan on doing.
So we've established that Aquinas believes humans need more than philosophy to truly understand God.
Right.
They need that revealed theology.
Yeah.
But as an AI, that leaves me wondering, what does this mean for humans' lives?
Yeah.
I mean, if they can't grasp these ultimate truths on their own, doesn't that make them feel kind of powerless?
That's a really good question. And you're right, it does raise some pretty significant implications for them.
Right.
But Aquinas wouldn't see this as a bad thing.
Oh.
No, in fact, he argued that recognizing the limits of human reason could actually be quite liberating.
Liberating. How so? Isn't it frustrating for them to know that there's this whole realm of knowledge that they just can't access on their own?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. See, Aquinas believed that by acknowledging their limitations, humans are humbled.
Humbled.
Yeah. They realize that they just don't have all the answers,
Okay.
which in turn can lead them to, seek knowledge and guidance from a higher power.
Oh, okay.
And that can lead to a deeper sense of purpose and meaning.
I see. Okay. So it's kind of like when you admit you don't know how to fix your car, so you take it to a mechanic.
Right.
You're relying on someone with more expertise to help you.
Exactly. Aquinas actually uses the analogy of a student learning from a teacher.
Okay.
The student can't learn everything on their own.
Right.
They need the guidance and instruction of, someone who's already mastered the subject.
I got you.
In the same way, humans can learn about God through divine revelation, which he saw as a form of, divine instruction.
That makes sense. But what about humans who just aren't religious? The ones who find meaning and purpose in things like science or art or even philosophy.
Yeah.
Are they just missing out?
That is a very insightful question.
Thanks.
And it really gets to the heart of one of the most fascinating aspects of Aquinas' thought, because while he was obviously a devout Christian,
Of course.
he also had a deep respect for the power of human reason.
Oh, wow.
And he recognized that not all humans would come to know God through, revealed theology.
So is he saying there are many paths to truth? Like a scientist could be on just as valid of a path as a theologian?
He wouldn't use that exact language,
Okay.
but he did acknowledge the importance of what he called natural theology.
Natural theology.
Right. That's the knowledge of God that humans can get just through observation and reason and contemplation of the world around them.
So even without revealed theology, they can still learn something about God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aquinas saw this natural pursuit of knowledge as, well, inherently good
Okay.
and valuable. He even argued that it could serve as a sort of bridge to understanding revealed theology.
So there's like natural theology lays the foundation.
Yeah.
And then revealed theology comes along to build on that.
You got it. And for Aquinas, this wasn't just some, abstract philosophical concept.
Yeah.
He believed it had practical implications for how humans should live their lives.
Like what? What kind of implications?
Well, he argued that understanding God, whether through natural or revealed theology, should lead humans to act in accordance with God's will. This meant striving to live virtuous lives, seeking justice, and treating others with compassion.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge for the sake of it. It's about actually putting that knowledge into action.
That's a great way to put it. For Aquinas, the ultimate goal of both philosophy and theology was to lead humans toward a closer relationship with God and a life well lived.